Hello YouTube and people of the interwebs. Now, today's video is ever so slightly different to a normal video because it's the first episode of a sort of mini-series I'm going to be doing on the channel. What is this mini-series, bro? Ha, I'm glad you asked. Welcome to Who Asked. Because like Doctor Who, but it's questions. I'll explain. In this mini-series, I'm going to be answering a bunch of obscure, random Doctor Who questions that aren't too important, but have always sort of plagued my mind. As you've probably read from the title, today's video is about returning classic Doctors, and would we recast these Doctors? Would we have the original actors? That sort of thing. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video.
Who knows? Who knows?
If you cast your minds back about 6 months or so ago, a good friend of mine asked this question.
So Jamie Radcliffe says, we've seen David Bradley play the first Doctor. If the second or third Doctor were to return, which current actors would play them?
I don't know.
That's a difficult question. I'll get back to you.
This is a work in progress question.
At the time, we didn't have the capabilities of answering it, but today, after some thorough research and thinking, I can answer which actors I would cast to play the classic Doctors. So if we were going to do like a 60th anniversary special or remake old episodes, these are the actors that I would cast in each respective role. Oh, and before we fully jump into the video, let me just tell you, your efforts from the last 2 videos did save a life. The gingerbread man lived and was released into the wild, all thanks to your support. So to save more lives of innocent gingerbread men, please click the subscribe button below. So we'll start with the first Doctor. It doesn't really take Sherlock Holmes to work out who we're casting in this role, because, well, I mean, the BBC have already done it. David Bradley. This sort of goes without saying, doesn't it? Like, I mean, he's done Adventure in Space and Time, Twice Upon a Time, and he's now in Time Fracture. So he has sort of cemented himself as the modern Who First Doctor. And you know what? I think he does a really good job. Because with this casting, he's not doing an exact copy of Hartnell's Doctor. Like, you can still see a distinct difference between the 2 characters, but the essence and the feeling is the same, apart from the rampant sexism in Twice Upon a Time. Moffat. But yeah, David Bradley is the first Doctor. Now, for the second Doctor, just like the first, I'm just gonna steal the casting from An Adventure in Space and Time, because I did sort of think for quite a while, who would be a good suit to play Patrick Troughton? And I don't really know. The best I can come up with is Rhys Shearsmith. Is that his name? I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. For those of you who don't know, he's the actor from Inside Number 9. He's also been in Doctor Who before as the weird sleep demon bloke. What a crap episode. I think he could portray the bumbly, jumping around sort of quintessentially British second Doctor, and I think he could probably put the sort of graveliness in his voice. So yeah, Rhys Shearsmith is the second Doctor. Now, the third Doctor. This is one that fans have also cried out for, well, years. Sean Pertwee. Now, why is this such perfect casting, you may ask? Well, you can probably tell by the surname. Sean Pertwee is the son of John Pertwee, who was the actual third Doctor. Not only that, but they both look and sound very, very similar. So yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, he would be the perfect casting for bringing back the third Doctor. Now, for the fourth Doctor, one of the most iconic Doctors, this was like really, really difficult, and I sort of just thought, if you are bringing back the fourth Doctor, just bring back Tom Baker, because unlike the previous 3, he is still with us. He's done Shada, he's done The Day of the Doctor, he's done Big Finish, all recently, so he's still up for playing the character, and he does it better than anyone else can. This casting, I'm a bit sort of iffy on, because I don't know, I couldn't really think of anyone else, but I thought maybe Joe Wilkinson could play Tom Baker. He's got the look, I'd say. Like, if he grew out his hair more, lost the beard, he's got the big wide eyes. For those of you who don't know as well, he's a comedian. He's used to comedic acting, which is very, like, along the same lines as Tom Baker's Doctor. I think the eyes and the look is mainly what's selling me on casting him in the role. But yeah, maybe we'd go with Joe Wilkinson for the fourth Doctor. Obviously, he's second to actual Tom Baker himself. The fifth Doctor, once again, Peter Davison is still with us. Brilliant. But if I was going to recast the sort of younger fifth Doctor, I'd go with Tom Basden. He's not the most famous of people, but I think the look and the voice and the sort of mannerisms, they're just on point for Peter Davison's Doctor. You may know him from like Afterlife and Afterlife 2. He's Ricky Gervais's like...
brother? No, Ricky's his dead wife's brother. Well, not actual Ricky Gervais. The bloke. Tony? Is his name Tony?
If you've watched Afterlife, he's this bloke on screen. I think the look, the hair, the mannerisms, the sort of the way he runs, all of these little things, he'd be a really good 5th Doctor. Now, number 6 was also sort of a difficult one because I couldn't really think of another actor who sort of fits the Colin Baker vibe. This one's probably going to be somewhat controversial, and I'm sure people in the comments would be able to find a better actor than this one. That's not to say he's a bad actor, mind you. But in the role of the 6th Doctor, I'd go with David Walliams. I think he could do the comedy and the sort of abrupt shoutiness. He also could nail the look if you gave him like a curly blonde wig. Yeah, it's not perfect casting, but sure. Now, the 7th Doctor, I think this is pretty on point casting. I'd get Michael Sheen from Good Omens and whatnot. Also, I'm realising now a lot of these actors have just been in Doctor Who before. Like, we've had David Walliams and Michael Sheen and, what's his face? David Bradley, Rhys Shearsmith. Who else? Wow. It's a whole fam. In the role of the 7th Doctor, I would cast Michael Sheen. He's like the short, comedic guy, he's got the curly hair. If he puts on a Scottish accent and rolls his R's, I'm a pirate, R. That sounded more like a farmer. A lot of people are calling for Michael Sheen to be the 14th Doctor anyway, but I'd say, no, hold off on that. Just have him reprise the 7th Doctor role. Well, he's not reprising it, he's being recast in that role. I think he could pull off the 7th Doctor. Give him the umbrella, give him the costume, and you're well away. However, unlike other Doctors, Sylvester McCoy still kind of looks the same. Yes, he's a lot visibly older, but he is just the short, bumbling guy with a little weird hat and stuff. We saw him in the season 27 box set thing. Yeah, Sylvester McCoy could still do the role perfectly. But if we were to recast the younger version, we'd go with Michael Sheen. And then from here on out, I'd just say all the original actors still look young enough to play the role. I mean, Paul McGann literally played the role in the TV show like 6 or 7 years ago in The Night of the Doctor, which, by the way, absolutely fantastic. Then obviously you've got Eccleston, Capaldi, Tennant, Smith, blah, 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 blah. I did think about who could we recast John Hurt as. I don't think anyone could really sort of live up to that legendary status. Like, John Hurt, yeah, it's John Hurt. Now that we've got all these castings, what could they actually do if they did hire these actors to play the Doctors? Well, obviously you've got things like the 60th anniversary. You could just get them all back. But then, would that work narratively? Probably not. I mean, if you were doing a sort of Gallifrey Falls No More sequence again with all the TARDISes, all the Doctors, maybe it's too early and the technology isn't good enough, but you could use these actors as the sort of as the base for the character, then deep fake the actual actor's face on top. Maybe that would look awful, I don't know. They did something similar for the end of the 50th anniversary with that closing shot where the camera pans out. You could also use them as live performers in things like Time Fracture, which I know they've got David Bradley back for anyway, so that sort of thing works. But the main thing I'd love to see these actors used for is missing episodes. Now, this applies to David Bradley and to Rhys Shearsmith. Those two should just recreate missing Troughton and Hartnell episodes. Come on, BBC. You literally recreated like the 4th part of the missing, what's it called? The 10th Planet.
Speed of emotion.
With David Bradley and you didn't even release it. What are you doing, BBC?
What's happened to you, Doctor?
Mundus. It's melting.
Hashtag release the Tulele cuts.
I guess this whole body of mine is wearing a bit thin.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps up today's video. Do tell me who you'd cast in these iconic roles. Maybe even go a step further and tell me who you'd recast as like the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, maybe even the 12th Doctor. I mean, Jodie doesn't really need recasting at the moment because, you know, she's the Doctor. That truly does bring us to the end of today's video. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Don't forget to click below.
Subscribe to the Confused Adipose.